watching brief, waiting for their moment to try and take things up again. And it's all about managing your energy and managing the energy of all your riders in the group as you get close to the finish, because we've got the likes of Tinkoff Saxo on the front. Française de Jeu are also trying to move up to the front to get involved in this one. And it's absolutely gorgeous scenery. It's perfect weather for racing. And we are set fair for a big bunch gallop to conclude this first stage. Just under 10 kilometres remaining on stage 1 of Tirreno Adriatico. The bunch is being led at the moment by Tinkoff Saxo. Française de Jeu also getting lined up and organised ahead of what we anticipate is going to be a sprint finish into the town of Cascina at the conclusion of this stage. And we have Tinkoff Saxo taking it up, and Ethics Quickstep set to make a reappearance, I think, on the front very shortly. We've had a couple of crashes in the last 15 kilometres, and they've taken out a couple of interesting contenders, specifically, I think, Matteo Palucchi of EM Cycling, who won this stage last year into the town of Cascina. He'll be bitterly disappointed and absolutely gutted, if you'll pardon that mash of words. He'll be disappointed that he's not able to take part in this finishing sprint.
He certainly will be very, very disappointed, as will the rest of his team. Perhaps one of the, well, definitely one of the hot favourites for today's stage. But there's another Italian just sat there, Ian Stannard on the front with the UK flash, or the Great Britain flash, sorry, on his sleeves for Team Sky. Tucked in behind is the Italian rider Elia Viviani, but on the front at the moment for Tinkoff Saxo, just getting in the aerodynamic tug is Chris Juel Jensen, a rider with dual Danish and Irish nationality, absolutely storming along at the head of affairs. And just behind him is Matteo Tessato, one of the most experienced campaigners, 38 years of age, one of the oldest riders in the field. But interesting on the left-hand side as well, in that new livery, the black and green of Cannondale Garmin Cannondale.
Chris Juel Jensen, the ex-Sorrento Cycling Club rider, on the front of the group, ahead of the oldest rider in the World Tour, Matteo Tessato, over 40 years of age now, 41 I think in May. He's taken on the mantle of oldest rider in the peloton following the retirement of Jens Vogt. It's a thing to be, the grandfather of the peloton. Father of the peloton, whatever the right phrase would be, as riders still trying to make their way back on. You saw Michael Hepburn there, and Adam Yates, disappointment for him to have got involved in that. Looked like they managed to make their way up. Yeah. And speaking of making their way up, Fabian Cancellara has been shepherded towards the front of the peloton. The BMC squad on the right-hand side in the red colours, and just inside them they've got the red jersey of the Trek Factory Racing rider Fabian Cancellara, as
Jens de Boucher also there for Lotto, the Belgian national road champion. A very, very fast finisher indeed. So a few teams with sprinters here who are definitely going to be interested in this finish. But look at the dual arrowhead here. We have Tinkoff Saxo in that rather fluorescent yellow on the left-hand side, and then the new colour, still getting used to the colour scheme of Cannondale Garmin. But I'm getting slowly warming to that kit. But here's the unfortunate shot of 4 of the Orica Green Edge riders out of the back. I think they have actually rejoined the peloton. That is Adam Yates has got back in. Certainly one rider they didn't want to lose. And what a climber, what a prospect he is for racing the general classification as we move forward. But good to see him up and back in the mix at the back of the bunch there. Yeah,
the two Yates brothers have made fantastic starts to their careers at World Tour level. Both riders, great prospects for the future and being nurtured. Indeed, prospects for the present, I think. It'll be interesting to see how Adam Yates manages to cope with the Tempranillo on Sunday afternoon. Française de Jeu on the front of the peloton, trying to get things organised now. All those sprinters from MTN Quebec, who are they going to try and line things up for this afternoon?
Well, it looks like the rider taking the wind at the moment for MTN Quebec was actually Tyler Farrar. Again, you can just see that gingery beard. He's got very distinctive form on the bike. If he was the man that was going to be protected for the sprint, you wouldn't see him at the front riding into the wind, so that we can rule out Tyler Farrar for the sprint, but maybe for one of the lead-outs. So perhaps we're looking at either Goss or Sielek, or maybe even Edvald Bosenhagen.
I thought I saw Bosenhagen at the very back of their group, and it looks, well, no, he's actually just moving up, so perhaps the very back of the MTN Quebec group looks like Christian Sbragli.
That's Simon Yates by the look of it. He has another rider with a little bit of stubble. Looks like he's caught his chin, just seeing the race doctor there. So poor Adam Yates, sorry, Simon and Adam Yates. I do apologise.
Well, it's easy to make that mistake.
Especially if his mum's watching. Yeah. She'll be on Twitter in no time. But no, getting patched up on the move there by the race doctor. But it looks like he's back riding, which is one good thing. On the left-hand side as well, Giant Alpecin also making a move, looking after, is it going to be Mizget or is it going to be Nikias Arndt? They've got this global approach to sprinting today, but who's it going to be? The first time we've seen the black and red of Giant Alpecin moving up on the left-hand side, as also Alberto Contador moves up the outside, out of the saddle, that distinctive style, and I believe he's also on a brand new bike. Look closely for the new Specialized bike, bespoke bike, I believe he's riding too. Well,
he's ploughing along furrows, not like he's trying to help out Peter Sagan. I think he's just looking after himself, and he's saying, I'm going to go up to the very front and stay as out of trouble as I possibly can. There's lots of crashing going on here. I don't want to be involved in it. He'll have heard the horrible sound of carbon fibre on concrete, and he won't have liked it one little bit. Adriano Malori similarly is on the front of the group, perhaps thinking less about protecting his own jersey and more about looking after Quintana, his team leader. Giant Alpecin on the left-hand side in the black and yellow colours, the similar black and yellow colours of MTN Quebec on the right-hand side of picture, and now Ethics Quickstep in those blue colours are trying to get themselves organised and involved.
Van Rensburg on the front there himself, a very, very powerful rider, has taken bunch gallops on his own. Very, very powerful. He's currently leading the peloton. Ethics Quickstep nowhere to be seen, just shows how competitive this is. But again, teams increasingly in these races leaving it till very late to get their sprint lead-out trains, but that creates quite a chaotic atmosphere. Edvald Bosenhagen tucked in third place, Matt Goss in fourth or fifth place on the inside there. So a very good riding at the moment by the African team.
Yeah. Care to call this one? Gerald Cielek is in there as well. He's got a hell of a finishing kick on him, and he likes Italy. He's got results in Italy before, of course. Former winner of Milan San Remo. Gerald Cielek could be an option for them. And MTN Quebec, well, what progress this team has made. They're ready to boss the peloton. They're confident. Only a couple of years ago, just being in there was a great honour for them, and they weren't really able to get involved beyond getting in the early break. Now it's a very, very different composition to that team. They've brought in lots of sprint talent, and they want to show that they have the physical ability, the strength to try and dominate things at the front. Ethics Quickstep put a rider on the very, very front.
This is absolutely fascinating. You can just see Ethics Quickstep riders now muscling in, trying to get their lead-out train down. There's Astana also in the mix, and Giant Alpecin on the left-hand side have now been bolted, and they move back. This is absolutely fascinating stuff as all the teams fight for their space at the head of affairs to try and sort of manoeuvre their lead sprinter into top spot. Zdeněk Stybar now moves into third wheel in the Czech National Road Champions jersey. This is a real tussle as we head into the finish. Just over 3 kilometres to go. Look at the effort. Now it's Katusha moving up on the outside. Paolini in second place.
Yes, Sabatini it is on the front for Ethics Quickstep. Great effort from him to drag himself to the front of the group. Stybar a bit slower to get up there behind, but now he's infiltrated the MTN Quebec lead-out train on the right-hand side as Giant Alpecin are on the left. So what have they got in mind? Have they switched their plan? Cavendish looks like he's very, very much in contention here. He hasn't got a full lead-out train, but he's got a couple of riders in front of him, and they're inside the final 3 kilometres in this first stage of Tirreno Adriatico. And it looks as if Ethics Quickstep and MTN Quebec are the ones that are going to fight it out for the honour of leading out this sprint, as the other teams try to take benefit from that. Giant Alpecin also in the mix, and riders looking behind them and trying to pick up their sprinters, and this is when things get very, very busy indeed. Just over 2 kilometres remaining. He's getting on the blower. What do I do? What do I do? Where's Mark? He's just a couple of wheels behind you. He's very much thereabouts. So looks as if they want to stay on the front for as long as possible.
Stybar now driving hard, glancing, but Mark Cavendish is there. He has dropped back a little bit further now. He's on that. Mark Cavendish was on the wheel of Renshaw. And again, Stybar looking around all the time, but now other teams moving up the outside. We even have Lamprey Sky getting a little bit bolted as we hit this roundabout. Very technical now, but MTN Quebec are up there in numbers. This is really chaotic now. 1.5 kilometres to go.
Well, Stieber has a little look behind to see where the rest of his team is, and Mark Cavendish is absolutely world-class at deciding, nope, I don't want to go up, it's too early, and I don't think this is the time. Renshaw in constant communication with Mark Cavendish behind. Cavendish is calling the shots here. He's saying, just back off a little bit, back off, and we'll wait a little while, and we're not going to go just as early as this. Just ahead of them, they've got Katusha. Ahead of them, indeed, they've got the MTN Quebec squad. Who are they sprinting for this afternoon? Stieber staying in the mix at the front to see does he have any legs a little bit later on. And now we've got riders from EM Cycling moving up. So has Palucci managed to get back involved? I find that hard to imagine. Ricchesi could be a man for them. He'd be a pretty good alternate sprinter. Ricchesi in there for EM Cycling as MTN Quebec continue to boss this one. Do they have the strength to take it all the way to the line? We're inside the kite.
Inside the 1 kilometre to go, and it's Edvald Boasson-Hagen for MTN Quebec, the Norwegian powerhouse, absolutely lining out this bunch, determined to keep this bunch as thin and as narrow as possible. Zdeněk Stybar, the Czech national road champion, on his wheel, searching for Mark Cavendish. Matteo Tosato, Luca Paolini also there.
De Busquera is in there as well. Paolini is leading things out for Katusha. So what have they got on offer? MTN Quebec are going to have the honour of leading it out, but do they have the strength? There's elbows flying in there. Boasson-Hagen is in the mix and fighting as they lead things out and going for the line. It's MTN Quebec that are going to go and bring it. Goss. Oh, look at that! A massive crash, and riders piling in, but they're sprinting for the line. De Busquera on the left-hand side of the road. De Busquera it is that's going to take it. Jens De Busquera, the stage win of Tirreno Adriatico in the most emphatic fashion after, well, a sensational crash inside the last 200 metres, and so many riders that have gone down in that. And let's see, I know it's such a shame to see riders. I think that's Elia Viviani, the sprinter for Sky, that is one of the riders that has gone down.